And welcome back to the Splitting Hairs podcast presented by Jackrabbit Illustrated. It's another Victory Sunday here with Matt and Chad.
Howdy, howdy.
Thanks for being here, everyone. Thanks for listening. If you're tuning in later in the week, we sure do appreciate it and your support and listening and interactions, all that good stuff. Chad, how you doing tonight?
Not too shabby. Had a restful Sunday. Can't go wrong. Got a new pastor. It was his first Sunday, so that was nice too. To get another pastor in our church because we're a small church. So maybe that's a little too much non-football, but I'll end it there.
Nah, it's all good. No, it's all good for sure. All right. My Sunday consisted of cleaning out my gutters and then hanging Christmas lights, which you've informed me is too early in the season to hang Christmas lights.
I have, yes.
But it was the last beautiful day, I think, for a while. And I anticipate my Saturdays are going to be filled for the next 3 weeks. And Sundays are just hit and miss sometimes, they're busy times. So,
and who expected an 83-degree day and this
right?
late in the year? It was. Right. I walked in the house after church and it was like, my air conditioning's on. How hot is it outside?
Hey, and I was thinking about this because Improvement Week is the last week of the regular season this year.
Indeed, it is.
Who is going to hang Coach Stig's Christmas lights? Because that's how he always uses Improvement Week to go home early and hang lights for his wife, Lori. Right?
He might get to him late, or perhaps
Yeah. Hey,
six-figure salary. You could pay someone to do that.
We cannot have him falling off a ladder or falling off his roof in freezing conditions here in 4 weeks. So
who would be the next man up in that scenario? Just curious.
I don't know. I think you,
me to call the plays.
He doesn't call the plays.
I don't think so. I know, but who takes over head coach? Is it just ran by Jimmy and Lujan at that point? Zach?
Yeah,
Coach Rogers.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy's the associate head coach. We got to get back on track here.
Sorry.
Rick Jensen says I need gutter covers. I don't know. Maybe someday. My wife has a whole long list of things, Rick. So we'll get there.
What's up?
All right. So we're back tonight. Thank you to our sponsors, Drake's Place and Cottonwood Coffee. I thought it was awesome this week that Drake's showed the game live. They invited people to come in and watch. When can we replace Chad on these chats?
Love you too, Farjan.
Oh my goodness. Geez, derailed already. But Drake's, honestly, Brendan was there a couple weeks ago. I think Ben's going through here soon. Their menu is awesome. Just order it. Such good food. We've tried it before at tailgating. The bar looks really cool. And then, they just come to tailgating. They bring us delicious stuff. We love them. Thanks, Drake's Place. Cottonwood Coffee. I have good news. If you are in my area, the Montevideo Walmart actually has the Cottonwood Coffee in stock. I picked some up yesterday. I was so pumped when I saw it. I took a picture. I forgot to post it. But anyways, Cottonwood Coffee, if you find yourself in Brookings, pick some up. If you don't get to Brookings, order it online. You get the discount when you use the JI22 code at checkout. And so be sure to check that out. So thank you, Drake's Place. Thank you, Cottonwood Coffee. Really appreciate both of your support for the Jackrabbit Illustrated and Splitting Hairs brand. All right. Geez, comments are flying in, you guys. Wow.
Yeah, well, another W. It's a good thing, no matter how many points it was, one way or another. 1 point, 20 points.
Yeah. And we said that last week, right, Chad? We said we didn't care. We just wanted to win.
Just want the W.
Chad, you just got an absolutely in. I am so proud of you. Like that's man.
and I kept my composure.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
All right. So getting started with the game here. And Garrett Meyer, thank you for the segue here.
Yeah. First things first.
Let's just get this out of the way. Just like I did in Rants and Raves this morning. If you haven't read it, please go back and do. Hanging coaches' Christmas lights would be a good penance for Mr. Spalding. And so, Chad, we have differing viewpoints on this, I think, a little bit.
A little bit? Yeah.
I mean, I do see how it was called targeting, and I know some guys
don't. See how it was called targeting, no doubt. I mean, fair enough. You say your piece.
Yeah. So I think it was. I think, there's the front angle that we saw live during the game looks awful, looks terrible. There's the second angle that they show on the replay from behind. If you haven't seen it, Tolu and Stacker have been commenting on some frames, some photo frames that a photographer for UND took, and it shows maybe some head contact, but it looks like mostly shoulder from that angle. Chad, you've gone back and watched the game. I'll let you say your piece at this point.
Yeah, so I went back and watched the game. Just got through that part, and you and I looked at it before coming on here. And when you look at it from you call it the front angle, I'll call it the behind angle because it's from the UND offensive perspective. So when you look at it from that perspective, yeah, it looks like he gets in his face, like trying to give him a kiss or whisper something in his ear or something stupid, jerky of that nature. And I thought, and that's the view that I caught live, that I really paid attention to. Well, on the replay, after they're going through and they're doing the review, and through that process, they have a replay from the opposite side, from the defensive perspective. And nowhere in that do you see his helmet come down to his helmet like you do from the other side. It really is just the process of him standing up and his weight coming forward and him standing up. It looked bad. I'm not going to disagree. You look at what Tolu and Stacker are commenting on, you can see clearly he hits with his shoulder. And on the sidelines, everybody said they were joking around. And I don't know that that's my takeaway either, because he's pointing at his helmet and saying, look, there wasn't even any contact. I don't know. He's like, that's weak, I think is kind of what he was saying to his teammates. But, that's kind of a perspective thing. Certainly it didn't look good in the building from most people's angles. I get that, but I don't think there was the malice there that people wanted to put on him.
No, and I think, and I wrote this in Rants and Raves, Graham's a good kid. I mean, he's a good football player. He's a tough-nosed football player. He's going to play hard, right? We know that about him. He's a gritty player. That's just who he is. But I don't think he's mean or trying to injure people out there or anything like that. I think that's nonsense when you see that.
And I don't think he was spitting in his ear hole or anything like that,
Yeah.
Even though that's what it looked like from the one angle,
Yep. And this is a great point here from Jace. And I did write about this too in Rants and Raves. Like that was a terrible throw from Schuster.
Yeah, he shouldn't have thrown that ball.
Yep, he shouldn't have thrown that ball. And that's just asking for a major collision on your wide receiver. I mean, in that play, what's Spalding supposed to do? We've seen this scenario where the linebacker or safety dives and takes out his knees and a knee's blown out, and everyone feels terrible at that point too, because that's going to affect you. That's a major injury too. We've seen that. So what do you do?
So many times in this game, our guys would go to hit and they'd hold up a little bit and get ran back for a yard extra by a running back. And that's because they're calling that launching these days.
Yeah.
You can't actually hit anybody. I mean, I was an offensive player, so I guess, but the offense has an extreme advantage at that point.
No, and we saw it earlier in the game. Yeah. And we saw that earlier in the game with Schuster on Spalding. It was a third down rushing attempt, and Schuster put his head down and plowed through Spalding, and Spalding stopped his feet there and stuff. And like you're kind of saying, didn't go in to make the big hit to the tackle. And yeah, it's just,
which led to another play with Schuster when Isaiah Stallbird come across and kind of gave him a shoulder as he was going down, which, of course, we got to call targeting. They don't throw a flag at all. They just, immediately go to the tape. And like I told you before the game, this crew looked familiar to me for reasons. I recognized at least one of the officials.
Yep.
And it seemed to me that it's that same crew that stopped our game a lot at one of our home games. You, I think, correctly identified the Drake game is where they didn't call anything. Everything went to replay. It was the world's longest game. I think this was the exact same crew, and I guess that's their MO. And I think I think we got flagged real heavily versus our opponent in that game too. So
Yep.
I don't know if they have something against us. I can't believe that's the case, but it does seem like we're the dirty team in that case, which I don't know. Is that played out the whole season that we have significantly more penalties? I mean, especially if you take out false starts, I don't think we do.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, Graham's gonna have to sit out for a half regardless.
Which is a dumb penalty. I don't like that. Rabbit Hole was talking about it on Twitter. I agree with him. There, it doesn't really. I don't know. It doesn't fix anything, in my opinion.
Yep.
I don't.
Yep. All right, this is good. So, yes, Jordan, I 100% agree. I think everyone agrees with this. If he did taunt him, if he did say, you know, lights out, whatever, or got you or whatever he said, there's no place for that. If he said that, you know,
and we would never condone that.
Yeah.
Really.
Yep. Absolutely. So
you got yours out of the way too.
Yes. This game was just so long, and Chad's talked about it. The reviews, there's stuff not to review. And Alex, I know you're a referee, so for you to be pointing some of this out, man, I appreciate that.
Yeah. And let's comment just quickly on the fact that this is a home base for Midco and probably the worst telecast I've seen from them. It was not well put together. You could hear the guy talking to the announcers saying, "Hey, we're putting up the lines for the
the spotter."
Yeah, it was kind of strange. And then of course ESPN's got to screw that up when they come back from commercial.
Yeah, we missed
3rd and 5.
Yeah, right?
What just happened? Like that, I don't know that that's on Midco. I'd blame that on ESPN. But geez,
yeah,
come on, guys, we pay for this stuff.
Yep. And this comment from Kendall, the UND offensive lineman who charged out may have done the right thing. That doesn't mean it's not 15 yards. Yes.
The other thing we didn't mention.
Yeah.
It absolutely should. Bubba pulled him aside and was chewing his butt.
Yeah. He was out of control. He was out of control. His teammates were trying to hold him back too. And he obviously is upset. You see someone live get whacked like that and potentially taunted. And yeah, you're going to stick up for your guys. And I'd hope our guys did that as well. So, or would do that as well. But it's still a penalty.
It's still a penalty every time.
Yeah,
twice on Sundays.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some good stuff. Should we get into some good stuff?
Yeah, let's get into some good stuff. We got the bad stuff out of the way. Well, some of the bad stuff out of the way.
Yeah, right. I thought Mark was awesome personally.
Yep.
And he was just named Missouri Valley or co-Missouri Valley Football Conference Offensive Player of the Week. That
Who
just
was
came
the
out.
Other co?
Dom Williams from UNI, the running back. Okay. He had 101 yards and 4 TDs, so a good game for him.
Meanwhile, Mark had 5 TDs.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so I just think Mark's playing with a ton of confidence right now. I'm not going to say that's a good UND secondary because it's not. But he just looks in control. He missed the one throw down the seam to Jaden early in the game that could have potentially been a touchdown. Oh, Dallas. Oh, hey, Dallas. But otherwise, he just knew when to run, knew when to throw. Just his maneuverability. He's still not hitting that top end speed that we're used to, but that's all right. His one touchdown run where it was like the rugby scrum and he got pushed in.
Great.
That was awesome. That was great. I love seeing that.
That was exciting. I think Mark has still got room to grow.
Yep.
Thanks, Jordan. More on that later. We'll come back to that. But Mark's got some room to grow. He had a couple throws, I think, that got away from him a little bit. Some balls that either floated or came off his hand funny. But man, he looked great. 17 to 22, that's a pretty good stat line.
Yeah. And just, some of his throws were throwaways too. So, we got hold on here. We can't let this stand. Ron Lowney. Do we really want to talk about an inconsistent play or inconsistent performance, Ron, with Montana State? Come on.
I feel like if Weaver doesn't throw the ball out of the end zone, maybe they win that game.
Yeah, I don't know, Ron. Come on.
That's
Come
kind of a
on.
fluke win, huh?
All right. What else, Chad? What did you like from the game? What was the good?
You know, there's a lot of good. I like how we were run blocking. Our run blocking looked real well with our more tight ends personnel sets. That looked good.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can still refine that and get better because they're a little bit rusty. You know, defensively, we looked good again in the second half. I'm convinced we need to come out and do this instead of this because this is where we make our money.
Yeah, that
We looked
third
great
quarter.
in the third quarter, right? Yeah, we looked great. Dyshawn and Malik were both playing really well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Quentin Hicks,
Yeah.
knocked that ball out, and I mean, we had some excellent plays on defense. And with guys hurt, we got guys coming in. I had some areas from concern that I wanted to address. Bach being one of them, right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's concerning that guy's hurt. But we seem to do well without him.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're having some discipline issues a little bit, I guess. We got two other personal fouls that we could talk about. Penalties again, it's just killing us. And slow starts, we can't keep doing that. That's going to bite you in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So we need
Mm-hmm.
to get that figured out. We got 3 games. We're in the third quarter, let's call it. Let's
Mm-hmm.
get the slow starts. Let's have that be the last one.
Yeah, and this Hobo Day here would be a good game to figure it out because
Right.
it'd be nice to rest players um, before the last 2 games, before UNI and before Illinois State. It'd be nice to give the guys the fourth quarter off, if potentially we could. So um, let's get caught up. Yeah, 30-6 played well in the middle. Yes, thank you, Chris. I want to talk about these guys. Peyton Schaefer and Savion Williamson have really, Savion we knew about. He got getting injured in the national championship game, playing special teams, which he was really good at in that spring season. And Schaefer getting hurt, really a nasty elbow injury last year, I think,
Yep.
against Sacramento State, and
Yep.
missing, the remainder of the playoff games as well as spring ball and not being able to do much this summer and missing Iowa. Really just kind of battling back with that elbow injury and stuff. And those two, I mean, geez, they really when SDSU got them, felt really good about their potential, and they've just struggled to get on the field, stay healthy, on base defense. They've been awesome special teams contributors in their time at SDSU. So I think, gosh, I'm just happy for them being able to do that and have a good game. So thanks for bringing them up, Chris. Really,
Yeah, I
really
really
happy.
like seeing Savion get some time. He's definitely put his time in with the program, and you
Yeah,
know, there's some ties back where he's from with me, and he's been one of my favorite players to watch.
cool.
Dustin Furman asked if we're deep enough that we just start to pull away in the second half, and I'd say it's a factor for sure.
Yep.
Um, I'd say another portion of it is our coaching staff's been making very good halftime adjustments,
Mm.
so um, it's good to see that too.
Yeah, exactly. They're making some adjustments for sure. Let's go back to linebackers for a second. Zach Larson, linebacker depth is so impressive with the injuries. Who steps up at linebacker this week? Do any true freshman linebackers of the Kussler twins play this weekend? So I think you're going to see the three that
Actually,
we've talked about: Stallbird, Williamson, and Schaefer. And I think those are going to be your starters, likely, depending on Jason Freeman's injury. But then Kusslers and Davian Sterner, right? Sterner is his name.
yeah, I think that's
Um,
right.
and then I think you will get into those linebackers. I see Colin McShane had a couple tackles yesterday, true freshman out of Iowa. I mean, hopefully Bryce Johnson, player we're super high on. The linebacker out of Missouri as well. Can't remember his name. That's just a speedster. So, we have some good talent there. It's just really inexperienced at this place at this point in time. But the only way you get experience is to get reps in, right? So yeah,
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah, we got some other good comments. It's good to see brilliant Brian Williams returning. I agree 100%. Stallberg did have a great game. Um, you know, everybody every game somebody new steps up, and that's fun to watch, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Ron Lowney, maybe you don't understand. Maybe you don't understand Hobo
Ron.
Day, but that's not what it means. So
Ron, we need to get you out to Brookings for a Hobo Day sometime. Come on
yeah,
out.
come on out.
Yeah,
We'll
come on
host
out.
you.
Yeah,
Come on
we'll
out.
host. Yeah, it'll be fun. It's our homecoming, Ron, for what it is, and it's a huge celebration in Brookings. It's student led, a big alumni event. So yeah.
So circling back a little bit to the slow starts, Matt, this question here, what do you think it is that's causing our slow starts?
A little bit of both. I mean,
Yeah.
UND did have 2 weeks to prep on this as well. And we're number one. I mean, that place was fired up. You could hear it in the broadcast, but it really quieted down, after that Dyshawn interception. It really kind of tamed that crowd a little bit. But I do question on some of the game plan stuff. And I touched on this last week. I did not like how we came out defending NDSU. Especially the receivers. We gave the receivers way too much respect versus kind of the production they've done in the past. I am not 100% sure this week. I mean, everything UND was doing was kind of what we expected UND to do, right, Chad? Like, was there anything that was unusual that they did right away?
Yeah, it was 100% what we thought would happen. The dink and dunk, the underneath throws, take a couple of shots, some tricky plays, which to our credit, they did a couple trick plays and they didn't exactly work how they were supposed to. That one flea flicker got broke up. Schuster's just so slippery and so good at keeping his eyes downfield. And that's the one where there was OPI. And like I told you before, I think the side judge that was down in that corner didn't have the right side angle to see it. That's why he didn't get called. But then there's 4 other officials on the field that should call that.
Yeah.
And that's the one where I noticed that the umpire in the middle of the field was just kind of lackadaisically watching the quarterback and not really. I mean, you go back and watch what that guy's doing, and it doesn't seem like he's all that interested in the game. It's kind of strange. I mean, I'm sure that's just his way of dealing with it, and he probably has, this is what he's supposed to do. So I'm sure he did a fine job. It just looked that way. And that was clearly offensive pass interference. He hit our guy under the arm and folded him in half.
Yeah.
Like completely changed his direction.
Yep. 100% right there. Jeez.
Schuster is greasy. I don't know that that's the words. He's slippery, greasy, I guess.
Yeah. And
that's big, yeah.
And that's, I think we wrote that, right? In the position, in the game preview and stuff, knowing that UND only had given up 14 sacks entering the game, but it should have been 20 plus. But he is so slippery. It's ridiculous. So greasy. So good one. Penalties. Mark talked about this in the post game with Tyler. Penalties are putting the team in bad situations. And it seems like when they do get behind the chains, with false starts and stuff, it usually doesn't end well, which is part of the reason you don't want to have penalties, right? You have to overcome it. And sometimes they do, and a lot of times they don't. So, yeah. It'd be nice to be at home this week. Hopefully no false starts, right? For us. Yeah.
We would like our fans to be engaged and cause false starts on the other team. I mean, that's a challenge I would issue to our fans. Like, get up, get loud. It doesn't have to only be on third down, although it's, that's the down that's a little more important. Let's make some noise on first and second down. We're going to be well lubricated as a fan base from Hobo Day, and we're going to have some ears up, some Jackrabbit beer. Pretty excited about that. I think Ben Pearson of the B team willed that into existence. Magically was talking about it, and the next day it's news. A Jackrabbit beer. His name was a little different. I think I like Bison Tear's name a little better.
I like that too. I still think they should make that. I think that'd be good.
I think we just got to talk to Fernson and see if we can slap a different label on the same beer.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And okay, so our friendly umpire here, Alex Kenkel. Thanks, Alex, for just letting us know what the umpire is supposed to be doing. So Yes, the low number of holding calls, that was something that, when I was watching it, it sure looked like there was a lot going on, but I mean, that's hard from the TV angle too. So yeah,
Yeah, and I
thanks,
don't
Alex.
claim to be a ref, so
Yeah.
like I said, it just looked kind of funny. He looked a little disinterested, like was kind of lackadaisically walking around the field. But
Yeah.
maybe that's just the first time I actually watched an umpire, perhaps.
Yep. We need to touch on special teams a little bit
Sure.
here. I I was very happy that Jaden finally got some room on his returns, and I've just gotten so many questions like, why is Jaden back there? What are we doing with Jaden back there? Why? And we clarified last week that the coaches wanted to simplify what they were giving to Tyler Feldkamp so he could focus on his role in the offense. And Jaden was very reliable back there. Yes, he did have the one fumble against USD. He's been sure-handed since that. And he saw the upside. You saw the upside of why he's back there yesterday. That return was terrific. Like, he should have scored. So
dude's big and can move, and he'll just truck people trying to hit him if they aren't coming full speed.
Yes.
And that's what happened in the middle of the field when he got to about the 50. He just started running over guys.
Yep. And then on the flip side, though, our coverage units again had a disappointing play, right? Each on punt and kick. Yep. And Kyle and Stacker talked about this on Friday, when they record on Friday. I listened to it Friday night when I was driving back from Minneapolis, St. Paul for my vacation. And it just was such a good line that Stacker had, that those guys who are playing special teams aren't getting a ton of reps in any of the base defense or offense. So special teams has to be where they make their name, cut their teeth. So someone needs to take ownership and just make it happen. We can go back through a long line of players: Dalton Cox, Preston Tetzloff, Don Gardner, Peyton Schaefer,
Savion
Williamson. Like, someone needs to step up, one of these younger guys, and say, enough of this. Like, we're not going to let you have the ball past the 20-yard line. We are going to make a play every time within the 20. Come on. So
one bright spot on special teams, since you're dealing with the negatives, Hunter Dustman had another great game.
Yep.
Was kicking the ball mostly into the end zone. Love to see that. Didn't miss any of his other place kick or extra points or field goals. I guess he only had extra points, so no field goal attempts. But he looked good out there. And then we had on the hands team, we had a guy that returned a kick and almost returned it all the way. And that guy just happens to be an absolute stud. We're lucky to have him back. We love Tucker Kraft. There's a reason everybody in the NFL wants a piece of Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, right. That touchdown run that he had as well was pretty awesome. The pass and catch and run, just classic vintage Tucker Kraft right there, man.
His teammates and I think it was Stacker actually talking on the podcast with Kyle, was talking about how much he's invested and how bad that guy wants it and how much he puts into it, versus other people. Like, he's just 100% committed. You could see it on that run. Dude wanted it more. That's what that was. It's kind of like Mason McCormick stealing the ball at North Dakota State. He just wanted it more. That's what it come down to.
Yep, exactly. All right. So Dustin Helton, Rev.
Thanks, Rev.
This is actually the champions of Mega Dakota.
I think it's Mega Dakota.
Mega Dakota, if you want to. Dakota? I don't know. Terry Vanderbeck has been championing this term for years, and was happy that we were able to finally fulfill it for him. So,
well, there are those that believe it should be East Dakota and West Dakota.
Yeah, which might be more accurate.
The argument would make sense if you've been from South Dakota or North Dakota.
Yes. Chad, thank you. The pregame show with Stacker and Kyle on Fridays is awesome. If you want to know X's and O's and some of the very technical pieces of it, listen to that show. They're both very well informed, especially in the trench play. Stacker's just been an awesome addition to the team. So
right,
yeah,
love that show.
Yep. Pitch and catch with Tucker. I don't know.
That could be fun.
Yeah. All right. And then Hunter Dustman just needs to kick it through the end zone every time. Yes and no. I mean, we've had terrific success over the years at pinning opponents deep. Coach has mentioned before that Hunter is taking a different approach. And he's taking a shorter run up than their previous kickers have, because he's trying to make sure that it's very accurate of where they're trying to drive it to. And so we're trading some of the accuracy for distance in the hope of pinning them within the 25. So, yeah. No comment there, Ben. You guys do a great job. So
I definitely add to the idiot factor on this podcast. So
no, Ben Pearson, B team member, says to tune in Wednesday night for some good humor and laughs, like you're in the garage drinking with your buddies. So
a little bit of garage time, we might say.
Yeah, some garage time. Exactly. All right, Chad, let's get to game balls here. Let's do a quick review.
All right.
So you predicted a score of 28-10. I predicted a score of 31-13. So neither of us were anywhere close. Nope. Offense, you predicted Mark. Ding, ding, ding. Good job.
Yep. Got that one.
And Amar, I picked it Amar. Chad, you predicted Bach, which is unfortunate. Right. And then I predicted Tavir. So, yeah. All right, we got to address this because this has come up. He commented earlier. So, Brexton Roth, with all due respect to Jackrabbit fans, we need to be better when it comes to insulting and going after our players and coaches when things are not going well. The players and coaches are giving 110%. I agree to a point. I don't think the personal insults we don't need it. We don't need to be yelling for anyone to be fired. We don't need to be yelling for anyone to get cut or anything like that. But at the same time, there has been a ton of money dumped into this program. And there's a ton of public interest now in this program. When Chad and I were back in school, there wasn't the same level of interest. It was the transition years. Sure, it was fun. People got really fired up for the NDSU game in Hobo Day, and that's about it. There's now higher aspirations, and I don't think we need to be angry that our fans have higher aspirations at all, and are maybe demanding a little bit more from the team.
I mean, as long as it doesn't get personal.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be personal.
I haven't seen personal attacks myself.
No, I haven't this year either.
We try not to call out individuals, but we're going to talk about quarterback play. That's part of the job. I think he's doing excellent. So don't have much bad to say. But if I say, I think he had a couple balls that got away from him that he'd like to have back, I'm not calling him out. I think he might even agree with that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Hopefully it's not directed at us. That's all.
No, Brexton had like a nice longer thread on Twitter, saying a little bit more about this and some good points and stuff. But it needs, I mean, like there has to be, I don't know. It's awesome that people are this invested in caring this much. So, yeah.
I did see some troll comment on Matt Zimmer's Twitter. That was pretty terrible. I hope those people just
train. There it is, like clockwork.
Just like clockwork.
And yes, and we have a thunderstorm coming through Appleton right now too. So yeah,
I'm an engineer. I drive trains.
Yeah. All right. No, we don't have anything on injury front at all either.
Jordan, I asked about Bach. So
yep, it sounds like it's not good. That's what we'll say for now. So, all right. This week, so game balls. And game balls are presented by Dakota Iron. So Dakota Iron's out of Sioux Falls. And again, we've mentioned it a couple of times that Dakota Iron, did or sold the equipment for some of the biggest jobs on campus in the last few years. And it's, talking to John, they can hook you up with whatever you need. If it's, more residential, if it's something for your farm, if you're into construction, if that's what you're doing, they can help you find what you need. And John and his team, really deliver on that personalized touch and all of that good stuff to make sure that what you get is right for your situation. So be sure to stop in or look up Dakota Iron in Sioux Falls to make sure that you got what you need to do the job. So game balls, Chad, who are we talking about here?
Well, do we want to just run through them all each, or do we want to start with
Let's
position?
do
Start
offense
with
like we
defense,
do.
offense.
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
offense.
Well, offense for me is easy. Well, maybe not easy, but I'm giving it to Mark because 5 touchdowns total, 2 on the ground, 3 in the air, 17 to 22. 9.7 yard average. Those aren't paltry numbers.
Mm-hmm.
He looked really good out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, he's really gaining that confidence back or has it back, however you want to look at it, but he looked real good. And so he gets my ball.
Awesome. Yeah, Mark, I mean, how could we not? Like, he's the MVFC player of the week. So yeah, absolutely. Mark. Defense. Absolutely. That was like a genuine,
I know.
absolutely.
I get it.
That wasn't a filler. Absolutely. Defense. I got to go. I went with Malik and Daishan. Those interceptions were so crucial. And in my mind, Malik and Daishan are a pair because just how they've come up together, and had a similar ascent, I guess. So,
well, I had wrote down Malik and Daishan too, but I would like to point out that Jason Freeman's still a stud. He jumped over the pile and stopped that guy.
Yep.
And Winkleman, he was in the backfield a lot. But yeah, I got to give it to Daishan and Malik. They really shined out, and those interceptions were huge.
Cool. Sounds good. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Jason Freeman, I wonder if Addison's actually working on that story about him because I just want to know more about him.
Did you have any inkling what his injury might be? Because to me, it almost looked like a concussion.
I did not. Oh, he gated.
Yeah, the fencing position, if you will.
Yeah. All right. Okay, we gotta talk about DeJeffrey here quick. Then we'll get back into special teams player of the game here. So Jeffrey must be tuning in from the FCS Fans Nation podcast or their YouTube page. So thank you, Jeffrey, for tuning in. Yep. Really appreciate this. So Lindenwood, I'm excited for Lindenwood's ascent here. Like, Jed Stugart's a good coach. We're very familiar with Stugart here in this part of the world. If you don't know, he was at the University of Sioux Falls before he took off to Lindenwood, and they came to Brookings last year. And you could just tell they didn't have the size yet in the trenches to really play, but they had some nice athletes. They had a fun little quarterback.
And they played us tough.
Yeah, they played us tough. So, Lindenwood's going to be a problem for the OVC, right? That's where they're at,
yeah,
I think. So
Ohio Valley, yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, thanks, Jeffrey, for tuning in. Appreciate it.
I think they're a better team at this point than Murray State. But...
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. All right.
Sorry, Matt, that wasn't a trap.
Yeah, right. All right. Special teams, I'm going to go with Jaden Yankee. We talked about him already.
Interestingly enough, I'm going with Tucker Kraft.
Hey.
An honorable mention of Hunter Dustman.
Hey, okay. All right. Let's get into Indiana State. That's what everyone's here for, is just talk about the Sycamores. All right.
Everybody's excited to see us play one of the worst teams in the league, but
yeah,
it's Hobo Day, so you need to be there.
Yes, exactly. And it sounds like tickets are already going fast. So if you do plan to be there, maybe get your tickets bought ahead of time. It looks like the West Side Grandstand is virtually sold out already, Brendan was saying, right?
Yeah, he said that earlier today.
So,
and the students always show out for Hobo Day. So potentially we could have another 16,000 crowd, and that'd just make me happy.
Right? So, and it looks like, for this year, if we have a good crowd for Hobo Day, and if we have even a decent crowd for Illinois State, like right around 10,000, I think we're going to break the attendance record. So that's pretty cool. So
I had to put that one up.
What's
Sorry.
that say? I can't see it. What's it
The
say?
the rear view official would like a game ball.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. All right.
Ron Lowney's right. Indiana State's not an easy out. They have an excellent offense. Matt's
So,
going to get into that. Sorry, Matt.
yes. So their offense has really kicked it up a gear the last few weeks. They inserted a new starting quarterback, redshirt freshman. His last name is Chambers, and he really can sling the rock. They have nice weapons. On the year though, they only have averaged 19 points, but I haven't done the math yet on what the games Chambers has started, how they've improved. Rushing 127 a game, passing 176, but again, that number has crept up the last few weeks with Chambers at the helm. They are not good on third down. 26%. They only hold the ball for 27 minutes per game. Giving up 18 sacks. So, they've just really struggled to find some consistency. Big time players that you need to know about on offense, at least. Justin Dinka, a really good running back. He broke off the 82-yard run against NDSU that you might remember reading about. And then Dante Hendricks is now a redshirt senior. Feels like he's been there forever at Indiana State. And Dakota Catton is a nice player. Harry Van Dyne's a nice player. So three really quality wide receivers that are good players. And Justin Dinka just obviously has that burst. If you can break off an 82-yard run against NDSU, I mean, we saw Pierre Strong do that. I'm not saying Dinka's Pierre Strong, but he's a talented player. He's a hard runner. He's quick, fast, all that good stuff. So just something to watch out for there. Their offensive line, watched a lot of the Illinois State game, and it's a typical Indiana State line. They're not tall. They're shorter in stature. Really, in my opinion, our offensive line, is kind of long and lean. These guys are kind of wasty looking. They're a little bit heavier. So they're just a team right now that's not hitting on all cylinders either, but they can definitely score some points. So, Chad, do you have anything you're thinking about there, or anything to add on Indiana State's offense that you've seen at this point?
Well, they played us really tough there last year, honestly, and we pulled away late. I think that we probably see a similar type game. I would like to see us come out and get off to a great start this game. Get the juice going right away. If we can do that, maybe we have a chance to get some people on the field that haven't got a chance to get on the field, and like you said, rest up some of the guys since we don't have that bye until the last week of the year. So, which in the end could turn up being something in our favor with all the injuries that we've had, but potentially we have a 3-week window there. So,
yeah, I'm interested to see how our corners really mesh against these really talented receivers. With our linebackers being out, we're losing some of that speed that Bach provides. Are we going to see maybe a few more 3 cornerback sets for the Jacks? If so, who comes off? Is Stallberg just going to shift and play more of a safety hybrid role instead of, that's one of the things that he allows you to do on defense. So, I'm really interested to see how the Jacks really defend this kind of pass happy scheme in a way for Indiana State, and still respect Justin Dinka as a running back, right? So I think that's going to be interesting to watch.
I feel like it's fair to say that their quarterback's not nearly as slippery as this last guy. So I think we could see potentially 3 sacks this game.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that. Depends on how much they try and run the ball.
Yeah, and Chambers though, Chad, he's not terrible. He's maybe not as slippery as Schuster or Shelley or anything like that, but he is mobile. So
right, I didn't say he was bad. Don't get me wrong. Schuster's way slippery. That guy just is. Like even Jason Shelley's pretty elusive, and we got a fair number. We got home a fair number of times there, even though he had gotten back to the line most of the time. So
and Chambers though, just looking at his bio now, He is a bigger kid too. He's 6'4", 215. So interesting. I'm interested in that. Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see this kid in person because at first, when I heard he played his first start, he played and kind of traded off with another quarterback for the first few games, and then he took over for the NDSU game and was the starter actually. And yeah, I'm just interested to see that. So
And they
yeah,
did play NDSU tough, so it's not
yeah,
like they're going to be a cakewalk. And
yep,
we traditionally have played horribly on Hobo Day for
yep,
who knows why. Distractions has always been the reason I get heard thrown around, and I just don't buy into that. I think our team's focused, and if that is the case, definitely this team's more focused. It seems than teams in the past.
yep.
We didn't have this was the classic trap let down. There's people getting mad about calling it the NDSU hangover game. Fine, let's not get them that credit. We'll call it the marker game hangover because it's a rivalry game, right? We
Yeah.
had 2 rivalry
Yeah.
games in a row. We were down. We're bound to almost have a lower energy in this game. But the guys didn't really. They played it like they played the last 3-4 games. And, this team just is focused.
Yep.
And what they're focused on is getting to Frisco.
Yep.
And the best way to do that is to make sure the playoffs go through Brookings and we don't have to fly all over the country.
Yeah, we experienced that. We don't want to do that again. So, yeah, we don't want to do that again.
And we're in the driver's seat. Potentially, we could end up, Sac State wins out. Potentially, they're a number 1, we're a number 2. That's fine. Whatever. I mean, 1 and 2 is essentially the same.
Yep. The bad thing about living right next to a railroad track, Chad, is that they always say tornadoes. Tornadoes sound like a train. And so I'm kind of like, is that a train or is that a tornado coming towards my house right now? So,
well, is your phone set up to go off if you have
it is. It is. Yeah. So
that is creepy.
Yeah, now the brakes are squealing. Yeah.
On command there.
Geez,
Ron, you'll have to look up why it's called Hobo Day. That's a long story that's available online for sure. It's not really for this podcast.
Yeah.
Appreciate the question though.
Yeah. So let's get to Indiana State's defense. And I can say that they're not very good. They gave up 45 points, 48 points to Youngstown State, which other than Jaleel McLaughlin is not a very good offense. They give up 181 rushing, 237 passing. They do have 15 sacks on the year. I did see that. So that's exciting. But opponents are getting 51% conversion rate on third downs.
Yeah.
Like it just oof. So I don't know.
Yeah, I saw they were terrible on third down as well.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that just shows.
Yep. A couple players that I do like and remember from previous seasons for them. Chris Reed Jr., nice player. Jeffrey Brown leads their team in tackles this year with 63, which is a pretty respectable number at this point. So those two I remember from previous seasons.
Is he a linebacker?
Yeah, Brown's a linebacker, attacking. He has 2 sacks on the year as well. So good player there. And Chris Reed, I believe, is a defensive end.
Sure.
So, yeah, he has 3.5 on the year. So 2 good players that we've seen before. Indiana State did have, I think, this Cole Ryan was the safety that had like 20-some tackles against NDSU and was Missouri Valley Player of the Game. So, yeah, that was kind of a crazy stat line for that game. I believe that's him. Could be wrong on that.
I think that's correct.
Yeah. So, all in all, like this is going to be an interesting game, right? Because I don't think Indiana State, can really go score for score with SDSU, and I don't think their defense can stop us. But it just they have a lot of talented players, and if we don't show up right away, Indiana State will smack us in the mouth and score some points. So our defense does need to be locked in, and I hope we don't give these guys any reason to believe they can win this game. So let's come out early and come out fast and get after them.
I'd love to see a clean game for once, No No penalties, at least not stupid ones. I mean, some penalties happen. Even Stiggles admit that. But let's cut it with the false starts. We're at home. We shouldn't get any of those.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing controversial. Let's not have any of that. And if the defense plays what we know they're capable to play, it could be a short day for the ones potentially, and it'd be good to get some of them guys rest. So
yes, with all these injuries and everything, the backup offensive linemen, Stig mentioned a couple weeks ago that they're kind of green right now. This would be a perfect opportunity to get them some reps and some actual in-game experience. So that's one thing I'm looking for. I did want to point out just one other interesting note on Indiana State's defense. I didn't realize this, but this big defensive tackle that SIU had from a couple of years ago, he played pretty well in the playoff game. This Gianni Belizaire, big kid, 310 pounds, nose tackle, defensive tackle. He's now at Indiana State. I hadn't heard about that. I didn't recognize that. He was a nice player for the Salukis, so I'm intrigued by him. So, yeah. Let's do some predictions, Chad. Let's do offensive first. Oh yeah, predictions. We got a sponsor here, don't we?
Yeah, we got a sponsor here.
All right, presented by Culver's. Yes, and I'm hoping that after the game on Hobo Day, I can swing by Culver's quick and pick up a Butterburger, maybe a different kind of cement mixer, maybe like a cookie dough Reese's like combo there. Someone who was telling me about that. Someone said that's like their favorite flavor, Reese's and cookie dough in the same cement mixer. So I might have to try that.
Don't ruin cookie dough with that peanut butter trash.
Do you not like peanut butter?
There. I don't like peanut butter.
Okay. Is this the game we get a 50 Butterburger?
Potentially. We almost got it in the last game, surprisingly, but the score was kind of just a score fest.
Okay.
Would love to see it, but I don't think that happens.
Okay.
Is this our segue into the
some predictions
into the
here.
points?
Yeah, if we want, yeah.
I'm gonna go 42-21.
Okay.
So shy of the 50 Butterburger.
21. And I am gonna go.
Culver's does have a curd burger.
Yum. I'm gonna go 45 to 13.
45 to 13.
Yep. All right. Offense. I'm gonna go Angel Johnson.
Okay.
Okay.
I wasn't thinking running back. I think it's Jackson's game. That's just how I feel about it. So I'm going to go with Jackson specifically.
All right. How about defense?
I think DePriest gets in early and gets a couple sacks. So he'll be my guy.
Okay. I'm going to go with Peyton Schaefer. I think he's going to star now and is likely a first chance to start. So, yeah. All right. Cool. This is exciting. Some different takes there. So, perfect. Good. And I didn't pick any position groups here. So,
yeah, no cop out this week, huh?
Yeah. Yep. But I still, when I give game balls, I may give them to multiple players. So, yeah. Sorry, Chad.
I mean, I just went with honorable mention. So.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And I gave it to Daishan and Malik because, like you said, it's kind of like the 1-2 punch. They both kind of have the same game altogether. Like if they're both on, they're both on. Like if one of them's on, they're both on.
Yep. And I've never been so happy to be wrong about players. So I'm just I thought they'd hit their ceiling, and they definitely haven't. They've been just awesome this year. So very thankful to be wrong on that one. All right. This just want to say thanks again to all of our sponsors. Drake's Place, Cottonwood Coffee, Culver's, Dakota Iron, Shenanigans on the B team. Really appreciate all of you guys believing in us and supporting us. Really appreciate listeners when you go into the business and tweet about it. We like that. So thank you on that. And thank you guys for the interaction tonight, all the comments, all the views. We had over 90 people in here for most of this episode. So that's
and
pretty
feel
awesome.
free to share the word. There's apparently a fair number of Jackrabbit fans out there that still don't know we even exist. So Matt's constantly putting out great content on the blogs. Those are underrated in my opinion. The podcasts you do an excellent job with that. The podcasts are fun. And we get to sit around and talk and interact with you folks.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're informative. The new podcast with Stacker and Kyle, like you said, is excellent for X's and O's. If you're more into the technical details, that one's a little drier as far as the fun. They still have a good time, but they're really hot on the X's and O's.
Yeah, definitely. All right. With that, everyone, we're going to get out of here a little early tonight. Under an hour. Whoa. This is what it's like, Chad, to be under an hour.
Take that,
here.
Jim Poppin.
All right. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night. Go big, go blue, go Jacks.